Hello everyone, good morning. Myself Murali Reddy. I'm a DevOps consultant and solution architect. Now we are going to discussing about understanding master and slave nodes. Let's see the demo so that you will get some idea. And here we have a Jenkins.techworldwithmurali.in. Okay. First we will be understanding what is the difference, where exactly we will be use it in the real time. It is applicable to use slave node or master node, whatever. Okay. As I said, this is our Jenkins URL. Remember one thing, this particular Jenkins we have installed in the EC2 instance. If you see here, we have installed in the EC2 instance. This is, we can call it as a master node. Remember, wherever you install the Jenkins, that is, we can call it as a master node. This part is clear, right? Fine. Second thing, here in the master node, we'll be configure all the jobs, everything. Example, here we have created the Jenkins job or sample project, test project, user registration, everything we have created here. Okay. Now, whatever you are running the jobs, it is running in the master node only. Here you have to remember, currently for practice purpose, here we have created 5 to 10 jobs, but in real time, right, we'll be having 200, 300, 500 jobs as well. 200, 300, 200 to 500 microservices available. It means each microservice will be having that one folder. Inside the folder, we'll be having that one build job, multiple deployment jobs. It means it depends on environment. If you have a dev, test, QA, UAT, pre-prod, prod, whatever, right? All the jobs will be there. Okay. If you're running all the jobs in the master node, what will happen? It will be utilize CPU and memory. Your Jenkins will be a little bit slow. That is the one problem. Clear, right? This part is clear. Any questions now? If you have a 200 to 500 microservices, in Jenkins will be create the 200 to 500 folders. Inside the folder, each microservice will be having the one build job and will be having the multiple deployment jobs. It means, example, if you have a 500 build jobs and 500 into, if you have a 5 to 6 environment, it means 5 to 6 means 3000 jobs as well. Okay, deployment jobs. It is more. Okay, if you run it all the jobs in this master node, what will happen? It will be utilize CPU and memory, and it will be your Jenkins will be slow. That is a problem. That is the first problem. Second thing is, in real time, we may have Java applications. Okay, Node.js applications, .NET applications, okay, Python applications. Okay, clear, right? We may have different applications. In case, if you want to run this all the applications, what you have to do? You have to run, install that specific one in the Jenkins server. Correct? In Jenkins server, you have to install Java, you have to install Node.js, .NET, Python. Okay, that is fine. We can install it and we can run the Jenkins job in the master node. But the problem, as I said, if you run it all the jobs in the master node, it will be utilize CPU and memory, and then Jenkins will be slow. Okay. And you may ask question, Murali, we can increase CPU and memory. Yeah, that is also we can do that. That is fine. But the thing is, second problem here, in Java, we may have different applications, Java applications, right? We may have different versions applications. Example, in industry, right? We have a 8, we have 11, okay, Java 8, Java 11, Java 17, okay, Java 21, and recently Java 23 also. Okay, I wanted to run this all the jobs. Okay, what I'm saying here, in the 200 to 500 microservices, 100 services related to Java 8. Example I'm telling. Okay, Java 8. 100 microservices related to Java 8. It means we need to build this we need to deploy this particular Java 8 applications. Then the problem here, you have here we have a Jenkins server. The particular Jenkins server, you have installed that Jenkins. Okay, during that time, right, you will be installed the Java as well. Example, in our case, we have installed Java 8, Java 17 application. In Jenkins server, we have installed the Java 17. Let me connect the server and I can show you, okay? Yeah, if you see here, we have installed the Java 17 in the Jenkins server. Now, I need to run that Java 21 applications or Java 23 application. Is it support? No, it won't be support. It may build fail. The reason, this particular, if you have a Java 21 related applications, you wanted to build that particular application. So during that time, it will be throw the error, hey Murali, you have a Java 17 in the master node, but you are running in the Java 21. So it may not be work. That's why, okay, that's why what we'll do, right? Instead of running all the jobs in the master node, we will be use that Java, we'll be use the slave nodes. Okay, we'll be use the slave nodes related to Java 8, Java 7 to 11, 21, 23. When you are configure the Jenkins job, during that time, we'll be define that where this project can be run. Restrict where this project can be run. There will be mentioned that Java 17 related labels, Java 21 or Java 23. Okay, understand, right? If you are maintaining, if you are not using slave node, just if you are using the master server, so very difficult to run it. Other applications related, other Java application versions related one. Okay, that is the one problem. First problem related to it will be load increase. Second problem is related to if you have a different applications, Java applications version, so very difficult to run it in the master node. If you run it in the master node, build will be failed. That is the second option, second problem. Okay, understand that? And here same thing, Node.js also we have a Node.js 16, 18, 20, 22 depends on that. So we can't run it in the same Jenkins server. That's why we'll be use the slave node concept. Okay, that is the one thing. Third thing you have to remember, in real time, right? We may have Python application, .NET applications. This particular .NET applications, we need to run it in the Windows server. Okay, Windows, we need to build that particular in the Windows server. Usually here Jenkins we have installed in the Linux server. But .NET related, we have written that PowerShell script. Okay, we need to run it. PowerShell. One second. PowerShell. Okay, PowerShell script, we need to run it. If you want to run this PowerShell script in the Jenkins master node, it won't be work. For that one also, we require that slave node related to Windows. We require slave node related to Windows. Understood, right? What I'm saying? Let's take example I have taken. Okay, here .NET applications, the particular .NET application, we have written the PowerShell script. Using the PowerShell script, we need to run that to build everything. Okay, in case if you want to be inside the Jenkins job, if you go and do that PowerShell related one, okay, our Jenkins server is running in the Linux. But if you are trying to run it in the PowerShell related commands, it won't be work. That's why we'll be use the separate Windows slave node to running that .NET, sorry, not .NET guys. Yeah, .NET application. Okay, understand, right? Any questions here? Okay, these are the major problem. That's why we'll be use the slave node concept. Okay, super. Now here in slave node also we have a different types. I mean to say like one is on demand, it will be create the slave node and then it will run the Jenkins job, and then once completed that, and then automatically terminate the particular slave node. That is the one option. We can call it as a dynamic provisioning. Okay. Second option is static one. It means we always the particular slave nodes are always running. Jobs will be running in the specific slave nodes. Okay. Usually in real time, we always use the dynamic provisioning only. The reason we won't be do that build jobs every time, right? So if you want to be save some amount, right? Some cost. So then what we'll do, right? We'll be use the dynamic provisioning only. Depends on example, if I'm running the Jenkins job, inside the Jenkins job, restrict where this project can be run option is there. There will be mentioned that, hey, this particular job run it in the Java 17. Okay, and then save it. When you build with parameters, when you're running the Jenkins job, then it is immediately, it will be create the dynamically, it will create the EC2 instance in the AWS. We will be configure everything inside the manage Jenkins clouds. Okay, option, there will be configure it, whether which type of EC2 instance, everything will be configuring. And then once up and running the server, the job will be running there, and then it will be complete. Once complete, right? Again, it will automatically terminate. Everything will be configuring there. I will show you later sometime. Okay, understand that? Fine. Second thing you have to remember, in the master node, job configuration, credentials, okay, everything will be configured in the master node. Only thing is in the slave node, right? The just job will be running inside the slave nodes. Whatever tools, if you want to, if you configure, it will be installed, and also inside the workspace, the specific repository will clone, and everything it will be happen. But configuration related, all the configuration related, everything we can see it in the master node only. Okay, we can master node only, and also in the master node we can see that all the configuration and everything we can monitor it, and also in the configuration in the master node will be configure where our job needs to be run it, everything will be configuring it. Okay, second thing is you have to remember, you may ask question, Murali, how it will be communicate from master node to slave node. For that one, there are two options. One is we'll be use SSH. Using SSH, we'll be configuring it. Second option is we need to download that. We need to download that agent.jar file and we'll be run this command. So it will be communicate. Okay, in communication also we have two types. One is WebSocket. Second option is TCP agent. Okay, depends on our use cases. We'll be use either WebSocket or whether we will be use TCP agent. Okay, depends on use cases. Okay, clear, right? Any questions? Again, I'm repeating, in real time, we always use the master and slave node concept only. In master node, we'll be create all the Jenkins jobs, everything. In the master node, we'll be decide that where this job needs to be run. The major concern for this Jenkins job, right? First major concern, we'll be having the different application, Java application versions. If you want to be run it in the master node, it may not be work. That's why always will be the slave node concept. There will be installed that. Example, I have a Java 8 slave node. I want to run the Java 8 related application. We can run it in the specific slave node, similar to .NET, Node.js, Python, whatever, everything. Okay, clear? Second thing is, instead of running all the jobs in the master node, what we'll do, we'll be distribute the traffic. I mean to say distributed means just will be maintain the Jenkins jobs, credentials, configurations, everything in the plugins installation, everything in the master node only. Just will be run the particular jobs in the slave nodes. Okay, clear, right? Any questions now? Any questions? Remember one thing, one of the most important question interview level, can you please explain about master and slave node concept? Okay, depends on this condition, I mean, discussion only, they can easy to identify whether you really worked or not. Sometimes someone may say like, hey, we only use the master node. We don't have any slave node. They can easily identify, okay, this person is not worked in the real time. The reason, in real time, as I said, we'll be having that Java 8 application 11, 17, 21, 23, Node.js, .NET, Python. So we very deep, I mean, might not be possible to run all the jobs in the master node. That's why we always use that slave node concept. Okay, you should be aware of, and also you have to be explained why will we choose that slave node concept. One is, again, I'm repeating, guys. One is, okay, if you run it all the jobs in the master node, it may be utilize CPN memory. It will be, our Jenkins will be slow down and it might be down as well. Okay, that's why we won't be running it all the jobs in the master node. That is the one thing. Second thing is, we'll be having that multiple Java versions and multiple .NET applications. So it is not possible to run it all the jobs in the master node only because of version compatibility issues. Okay. Third thing is, if you have a different PowerShell related, if you want to be running the PowerShell related one, okay, our Jenkins is running in the master Linux server. But if you want to run it Windows related, PowerShell related one, it won't be work. That's why what we'll do, right? We'll be use that Windows related slave node as well. Okay. In the slave node also, as I said, we have a static one, and second one, dynamically provisioning, automatically provision. It will be terminate the particular EC2 instances. Okay. Clear, right? I will show you later practically as well. Don't worry. I will show you both for Linux and Windows for static and also dynamically. How do we provision automatically? Depends on you are running the Jenkins job. Everything I will be show you later part. Okay. Any questions now? If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me via LinkedIn, Instagram, Telegram. And also we have a Techworld with Murali YouTube channel. Here you can subscribe to get more updates. And also we have a Techworld with Murali website. In this website, I already publish all the DevOps related courses, DevOps, AWS, Kubernetes, Terraform, projects, Helm, everything. Here we have a different plans, 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, 1 year plans. If you are planning to enroll, you can come here and enroll it. Thanks for watching this video. We'll see you next video.